Indeed, it was not until news spread today that leaders from around the globe, including the UK Prime Minister, Angela Merkel of Germany, and others, had reached out to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, that finally, late today, our president called the Israeli leader, one of our closest allies. Ben Shapiro is author of The People versus Barack Obama. He joins us now. Ben, we had five. I mean, Ban Ki-moon of the UN called Benjamin Netanyahu before we did. This hit the news. The White House was asked about it repeatedly. Has the president called Netanyahu? Has he called Netanyahu? Day after day, it was no, 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 no. And now with five world leaders, France beat us to it. France. Finally, he calls him. What kind of a message does that send?
Well, it's not just the message that it sent by not calling. When he finally did call today, they released the transcript, and the transcript had President Obama suggesting that while Israel had a right to defend itself, the president would really prefer if Prime Minister Netanyahu and Israel really ratchet this down, take down the risk escalation and all of this, asking a state that is under the constant threat of rocket attack aimed at civilian centers to ratchet down its targeting of those rockets, because this is what Israel does. I mean, they are literally warning the people who are standing around those rockets to get out, and Hamas, as you mentioned earlier, is telling people to stay around the rockets, women and children. How can you tell people to stop defending themselves? This is what the Obama administration effectively is doing and has been doing for a long time, creating daylight between the United States and its only ally in the Middle East at this point.
How specifically has the president done that, in your view?
Well, in terms of creating daylight, the President of the United States had an opportunity in June, the beginning of last month. The Hamas joined the Palestinian Authority. They created a unity government. Palestinian Authority was supposedly the moderates. Hamas was supposedly the terrorists. They created a unity government with Islamic Jihad. 88 senators. This is a bipartisan thing. 88 senators wrote a letter to the president saying, you need to make U.S. aid to the Palestinian Authority contingent on the breakup of that unity government. President Obama refused to do it.
Because if we didn't, we're basically funding a terror group. If we didn't do that, then we're basically funding a terror group, Hamas.
We are currently funding a terror group to the tune of $440 million a year, because that is a unity government. This is a terror group recognized by the State Department. There's actually two of them. It's Hamas and Islamic Jihad working with the Palestinian Authority. They are currently firing rockets at Israel, and our taxpayer dollars are going to that government.
And speak specifically, because this war that we're watching in Israel, and we stand at the precipice tonight. I mean, the latest reporting is that the likelihood of ground troops invading the Palestinian territory now, up to 40,000, they're talking about Israeli soldiers potentially, could be imminent. It could be imminent. I mean, all hell could be breaking loose there tonight, Ben. And if Israel is in a full-blown war now with Palestine and Hamas, United States interests are directly implicated. The catalyst, they say, for this latest terrible fighting was the murder of those 3 Israeli students, teenagers, who were kidnapped and murdered. And what did we do or say about that? I mean, was there anything we could have done to try to stop this from escalating?
Absolutely. The same thing we could have done when they formed the unity government. 10 days after that unity government was formed, the 3 Jewish boys, including an American citizen, were kidnapped by Hamas operatives. The Obama administration, the State Department condemned it, but they did not threaten to withdraw aid. For 3 weeks, the President of the United States himself said absolutely nothing. And then finally, when he did say something, he said that Israel should act with restraint with regard to the people who had kidnapped and killed these boys. This is an anti-Israel administration. It's the first administration in American history that is obviously anti-Israel. It's borderline a Jew-hating administration. There can be no question at this point that the daylight that has been created between the United States and Israel has emboldened Israel's enemies and enemies of the United States.
How do you say that? I mean, that Iron Dome system, Ben, that they are using so effectively in Israel tonight was largely funded in part by the United States, hundreds of millions of dollars under President Barack Obama.
Well, the President of the United States still is going to sign over money to Israel because it's politically unpalatable not to do so. But that doesn't mean that the President of the United States can't undermine Israel's ability to take out the people who are going after it. And that is what Israel needs to do. Iron Dome cannot defend Israel. Iron Dome can only stop a certain number of rockets that are coming in. It can't stop all of them. We are seeing hundreds of rockets hit Israel, and we are seeing a small percentage of those being shot down, the most dangerous of those shot down by Iron Dome. The question, it's only a matter of time until one of these rockets hits an Israeli population center, and everybody in Israel and the United States knows it.
It's incredible to think of those millions of Israelis in basements and bunkers right now worrying about getting bombed to death. Ben Shapiro, thank you.